got it. Okay. So thank you so much for coming to this session. My name's Jenny. I'm one of the careers consultants at the Careers Service, and I'm joined by a panel of my colleagues who I will invite to introduce themselves shortly. So this session is part of Final Year Future Week, which is a week-long programme of online career support specifically for final year students and recent graduates to help you guys plan your next step after university. It's going to be a really informal session today. I'm just going to speak for about 10 minutes at the start to give you an overview of the career support that you can access as a graduate, and then it's over to yourselves to ask questions. We were going to put everyone in individual rooms with a careers consultant to ask questions, but because of the numbers, I think we're just going to keep you all in one room. You can use the chat box to ask any questions you have to any of the consultants or all of us, and we can all just learn from each other. So I hope that's okay with everyone. The session will be recorded, so feel free to rewatch afterwards. It'll be on our Career Service YouTube channel next week. Okay. So firstly, congratulations on finishing your course either this year or last year. It's a massive achievement to finish a degree any year, especially during the pandemic. So it's a real testament to your resilience, your adaptability and your self-motivation, and these are all skills that employers are going to be looking for. So a massive congratulations. Okay, so before we get started, if you've been to any Final Year Future Week sessions before, you'll know about the importance of registering, and that just means that you will have access to all the slides with the links to resources. So my colleague Sammy has put in the chat the bit.ly link to register. You can also scan the QR code, or if you're really stuck, you can put your student ID, and you can just direct message me with it, but it's best to use the bit.ly link if you can. And I'll show that again at the end if you don't have a chance. Okay, so as I said, today is an informal session. Mostly it's for you to be able to ask any careers questions you have, and obviously we can listen and learn from other graduates' questions. I did want to start with some information on how long you can use the career service, the kind of support we can offer, and some general tips on career decision making and graduate job hunting from alumni who've been in your situation not too long ago. This will take about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll have 45 minutes for questions at the end. As I said, use the chat box to ask questions, and I'll direct them to the panel or answer any myself. And then we'll finish about 5 to, so I can just give you some more information on where you can access further resources to help. So, no matter what your career questions are, today's panel will do our best to answer them. So I've already introduced myself, and now I'll invite my colleagues to do the same, and we'll just go on the order of the screen there, starting with Elizabeth.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Elizabeth Wilkinson, and I support our postgraduates at the university, whether that's PhDs or whether it's masters, postgrads, but I also see just about anybody, frankly. I've had a background in HR, manufacturing, software, and I'm a chemist originally, so there's all sorts of stuff you can ask me about.
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Bailey. I'm a careers consultant working with the humanities students. So work a lot with School of Social Sciences, but also see students from SEED and the Business School and School of Arts, Language and Culture. So any humanities students here today, welcome, and hopefully I can help alongside the panel to answer your questions.
And next we've got Helen.
Sorry, I just had to log out and back in again. Hi everyone, I'm Helen Frost. I'm a careers consultant in the Faculty of Science and Engineering. So yeah, with my colleague Penny, who is here today as well. So looking forward to answering some of your questions anyway.
And last but not least, me, Penny. So I'm work with Helen in the Faculty of Science and Engineering, and just like my other colleagues, I see students with all sorts of questions and concerns, whether that's not knowing what to do, deciding what they're going to do following the kind of completion of their course, and sometimes partway through changing their mind. So we're happy to take any questions today and hopefully support you on your next step.
Great, thank you so much. So you've got a panel of diverse experiences here, and now that you know us, can you let us know in the chat whether you have recently finished, whether you're due to finish this autumn or winter, if, for example, you're a master's student, or if you're a 2020 graduate. So if you just put your year of graduation, so whether that's 2021 or 2020, just so we can have an idea of the types of questions we might get. 2021, oh, loads of 2021s, all 2021s. That's absolutely fine, that's great. Fab, okay, great. Okay, fab, okay, so firstly, I'd just like to remind you, you may already know, but all graduates can access the career service for 2 years after they finish their course. So as the majority of your 2021 graduates, you can continue to use us until summer 2023. And this means that you can continue to access all of our support and resources during this time. If you're an MBA graduate, specialist support is provided by the Postgraduate Career Service at the Alliance Manchester Business School. If you left university before completing your course, you can still access us for 1 year. But for more information on eligibility, just have a look at our website. And if you're not really sure, feel free to contact us via Career Connect. You can just submit a query via the queries tab. But for the vast majority of you, it will be 2 years from your course completion date. So when should you use the career service? For all your careers needs. So you can access career support and advice if maybe you've just finished your degree and you don't know what to do, if you maybe finished last year and you don't know what to do, if you have an idea of what you want to do or the job you want to get into but you just don't know how to get there, and perhaps if you're currently unemployed or employed in non-graduate level work and you want a graduate job or a place on a graduate scheme, we can help. If you're considering further study at University of Manchester or another university, whether that's master's or PhD, perhaps if you're in work but you want to change sectors or industries, and finally if your plans have fallen through for whatever reason, so maybe you hadn't got the grade that you expected, or maybe you banked on being able to travel after university which now may not be possible due to the global pandemic. So all these types of scenarios we can do our best to support you with. And how can we support you? So there's lots of information, advice and guidance available to you as part of your graduate support package. Oh, one of stuck there. We offer one-to-one personalised careers guidance with a careers consultant. So that's usually 30 to 60 minutes on Zoom. We also offer application support, advice on CVs, cover letters, application forms, personal statements and your LinkedIn profile. And we have lots of online resources to help with that. And we also have our CV checker, which called Career Set, which is brilliant. And you can also book a 20-minute application advice appointment with an application advisor. So you do that through Career Connect in the same way that you would book a careers guidance appointment. We have absolutely loads of online resources, including industry information, application interview support, and our graduate job search pages, which have over 200 targeted graduate job searches by sector. I'll go through the website in a little bit as well. Career Connect is your main place where you can find graduate vacancies across locations and different sectors. You can promote events, you can sign up for events, and you can also book appointments. And Career Connect, again, we have lots of information about different sessions. So there's employers that come in, we run alumni panels, we've got a virtual career service fair, which is tomorrow. And I forgot to mention, of course, interviews. So a lot of you could be going for interviews at the moment. You can practice video interviews on Shortlist Me or Graduates First. You can also book a 30-minute interview simulation, which is like a practice interview with one of the consultants as well. So that's just a sample of all the support that we can provide. And we're really, really proud of our diverse student and graduate population. And here in the Career Service, we aim to offer impartial and confidential guidance to support you in your development and your career decision through a wide range of initiatives and support programmes. We want to enable equal access to a wide variety of graduate jobs for talented students, regardless of who you are, how you identify, or your background. And you can find more information about our equality, diversity and inclusion policies on our website, on the equality pages. And there's also quite a lot of information on finding positive employers and an overview of the Equality Rights Act as well. So definitely worth having a look at that. So we have so much information on our website. It is a bit like a treasure trove, lots of great stuff, but it can be sometimes quite difficult to find what you're looking for. So I just wanted to show you the types of things that are available. This is the Career Service homepage. So as it says there, www.careers@manchester.ac.uk. Under the Which Career section, there's more information about different sectors. That's your go-to place if you're not sure what you want to do. And also we have lots of advice on careers concerns. So lots of common career concerns, like the job market is, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed because it's too competitive, maybe you didn't get the grade that you wanted, perhaps you're feeling a bit dejected after a couple of application rejections. It's all there, so that's a good first point of call. Under our jobs and experience pages, we've got loads of information about graduate jobs, networking and transferable skills. And you can also find here how to get virtual work experience, which is free for all students and graduates at the University of Manchester. Then application and interviews, pretty much what it says on the tin. All our resources here for CVs, cover letters, personal statements, application forms, and we also have lots of support for assessment centres, video interviews, psychometric tests, etc. We have a specific page for our international careers section. So whether you're an international student who wants to work in the UK after study, or you're someone who wants to move to a different country and explore international jobs and networks. And we have a really great resource called Passport Careers that has lots of different country profiles, loads of information on things like visas and local job markets as well under our international pages. Under help and advice, you'll find everything you need to know about booking application advice appointments, career guidance and practice interviews that I talked about before. Events, Career Connect is your main place for events, but you'll find loads of information on the types of events available, the types of workshops we run, virtual careers fairs, and Meet the Professionals and Media Club as well, because we run specific events. Meet the Professionals is where you can network with alumni, and the Media Club is for anyone interested in the creative industries, especially media. And last but not least, Career Connect, you'll hear us talk about that all the time. It used to be called Careers Link, and this is where you can search for graduate jobs, volunteering opportunities, and you can also register for events and book on to appointments. So before I get onto the Q&A, which is I'm sure why you're here, I just wanted to share some careers tips from fellow graduates. I won't read them all out, but you can read them in more detail when you receive the slides, to make sure you're registered. But I would like to pick out a couple of key themes. So Leanna here is saying that it's okay if you don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's, you know, just as soon as you graduate, and it's okay to just try something out to see if you like it. Mihaela reminds us of the importance of tailoring your applications to specific jobs and companies that you apply for, and one size doesn't fit all. Ilhan talks about how Career Connect was really useful in searching for graduate vacancies, and Koisha hints at the benefits of networking, being proactive and remaining really receptive to open opportunities, because you never know what is out there. Okay, and then Liam's advice is along the same vein as Leanna's. A step forward in any direction is still a step forward. Your first graduate job doesn't have to be your job for life. Lenny talks about how beneficial it can be to get feedback if you can at application and interview stages, and to actually crucially action that feedback to improve your applications, your assessment centre preparation, your interview techniques, etc. Louisa mentioned how helpful it was talking to a careers consultant. I thought I'd throw that one in there, especially if you're feeling like you're lacking in confidence or maybe you don't know what to do next. So please do book an appointment with us. It's a common myth that you can only book a careers guidance appointment if you know what you want to do. Actually, a lot of people we see don't know what they want to do, and it's absolutely fine to come along and bring that with you. And lastly, Michael, a 2019 graduate, reflects on how he took a job that he initially wasn't sure of, but he was actually pleasantly surprised and he actually really enjoyed it. And I think that's important to highlight, because it shows that jobs can be more than what's advertised on the job description. So now it's over to you. You can use the chat box to ask questions and I'll direct them to the panel. So I'm going to stop sharing for this section so I can access all the questions. We've got about 45-50 minutes for this, and then I'll start sharing again in about 5 minutes or so. Sorry, at the last 5 minutes, just to share some last minute resources. So, okay, and my colleague Sammy has been posting the links in the chat, which is fantastic. So, okay, I've got a couple of messages, direct messages. Again, that's fine. I'll read out the questions. I won't mention any names or anything because it's recorded. But if you did want everyone to be able to see the questions, feel free to just write it towards everyone in the flat, or everyone in the chat, sorry. So I get really nervous at online networking events. I find them awkward. That's totally fair enough. A lot of people do. Do you have any tips on how I can calm my nerves and network effectively? Would anyone like to start us off with that one?
Yeah, I don't mind. Oh, shall I go and then Helen? I would just say start small. I think you can put so much pressure on yourself to go in and be brilliant at networking straight away, but it is a skill that takes time to develop. So maybe set yourself a really small goal of, okay, I'm going to go to a university networking event, which is a nice safe space. You know, there's no such thing as a bad question, and say like maybe a little goal that you could set yourself for that event is just to ask one question. So that would be one thing just to kind of get you started, is just start with a really small objective and maybe think about a couple of questions that could come up before you go, so you feel a bit more prepared, and then just start small and build up from there. It is a skill, and all skills take practice.
Shall I just build on that, Kim? I completely agree with what you've just said there. And I suppose I just want to firstly point out that it's not just students and graduates that have this worry. So I've worked out in industry, as a lot of my colleagues have, and you have people who are quite senior in their roles who also have a dread of networking in certain situations. So please don't worry, it's quite normal. The one tip that I would probably give is you can prepare to network. So if you're attending an event, maybe look up who's going to be there, what sort of organisations are they going to be from. So I'm thinking about maybe a careers fair or a conference. And do a bit of research on them and their companies, maybe if they've written any articles in the past, so that you've automatically got a talking point. But don't do masses of research, just like maybe 3 things that can get you going, because once you've started, you'll find it's a two-way conversation, and actually it's just like having a chat. You know, we call it networking, but it's just about having a chat, really.
I think something for me I'd like to add, just to add to what both Helen and Kim say, which I completely agree with, that being prepared should really help calm your nerves. And I always think about, when I go to networking events, maybe some key questions that I'd like to ask. So if I've kind of got those in my head. And the other thing is, people do generally like to talk about themselves. They like to talk about their jobs. They like to talk about, you know, even where they've been on a holiday or their, you know, kind of activities or hobbies. So don't feel like you have to start straight off with, you know, a career related question. You know, a conversation can start off just with icebreakers around, or how did you get here today? Or if it's a kind of online session like this, you might think about a kind of more appropriate question like, oh, you know, how's your connectivity today? Did you struggle to log in? You know, or I had some issues. You can start off with kind of icebreaker questions, more personal questions, if you like, rather than going straight into, you know, are there any jobs available at your company? You know, build up to that if that's something that you know you're wanting to get to.
I'd add to that, Penny. I mean, I think the idea about you know, preparing by thinking about the person and what would they want to talk about in terms of their own experience. And if you're worried about the kind of questions to ask, or even just sort of having to say the words which are in your head, practice on your friends first. You know, you can have mutual networking sessions where you actually say, right, here's the questions I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you about your experiences, and then get feedback from people who actually care about you and aren't going to make you feel silly.
That's so true, and we really do have a lot of resources on our website about networking and helping you to communicate with contacts, because it is something that a lot of people struggle with. And over on our blog we have like a student guide to networking. It's one of the most recent articles and it's brilliant, so I'll post the links to the chat there. There are a couple of quick questions. Oh, sorry.
Another quick addition. We've got the fair coming up tomorrow, and if you've got a slot booked to talk to an employer and you're really worried, the thing to do is you come and talk to one of us, because we're going to be doing advice and support during the day. So come and have a chat with a careers advisor, careers consultant, practice your questions. We'll tell you how to maybe improve them and to, you know, to give you some feedback on them, and that'll increase your confidence.
Absolutely, yes, we're more than happy to help, so feel free to book in a slot with us. There's a couple of quick questions. Would you be able to share the slides from the Boost the CV session yesterday? If you just drop me an email, I will be able to email you those. But if you did, or you couldn't make it yesterday, that's absolutely fine. Sammy, would you mind sticking the graduate careers email address in the chat? If you drop us a line there, we will send that to you. Can I access Media Club as a graduate? Yes, you can continue to access all of the Media Club's events and the Facebook group for 2 years after you finish your course. Is it vital to build a LinkedIn presence and networks? It's not really a thing back home. This person is from Japan, and I'm not sure how much time I should spare on it. That's a good question. Does anyone want to jump in, or? I think.
Go on, I'll give it a go. I'm not an expert by any stretch with Japan, so I can't really comment from that point of view. But I would probably re-question yourself in terms of what you're trying to achieve with LinkedIn. So are you trying to find a job in the UK? In which case the answer is yes, you absolutely need to build your LinkedIn profile and build your networks in the UK and with decision makers and people who can help you on that journey. If you are primarily looking to work and live in Japan, and it's not a big thing over there, according to you, then maybe it's not quite so relevant. So it's all about relevance. I think everything to do with all the advice that we give you today, you can choose whether to accept that or not, whether it applies to you or not. So it's a little bit of a judgment call, but certainly if you're looking to work in the UK or the rest of the world, I would say LinkedIn is a great thing.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, they've clarified that the job hunt is in the UK, so absolutely make use of LinkedIn as much as you can. How can I find out more about careers events? I'll just take that one. So when you're a graduate, I would recommend always checking your emails from alumni, because you receive an alumni newsletter every 2 weeks, and that'll have lots of information on careers. You can sign up for alerts on Career Connect, so you can get more information and notifications about upcoming events that might be of interest to you. And you can also follow us on social media. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, and Weibo, and follow the University of Manchester on Instagram, because sometimes we do takeovers on Instagram for careers, and also the alumni Instagram as well. I'm a graduate and I have no work experience, but I want to get onto a business graduate scheme. Any advice on how I can build skills? Kim, I don't know if I could direct this one to you as
yeah. I think we always say it depends what you mean by no work experience, because very often when we talk to students to think really broadly about what experience you've had outside your degree. So if you've done any volunteering or had any part-time jobs, or even things that you're doing at home, so maybe you support your family, you're a carer, or you're looking after people in the house. So there are maybe just trying to stretch that definition a bit of what does work experience mean to you, because when you apply for any graduate job, you'll be looking at the essential skills that employer's looking for. So if you're applying for a business graduate scheme, they should have on their website of the different employers that you're looking at, well, what are the essential criteria that we're seeking? And you can draw from all aspects of your life, even broader than what I've said, hobbies and things that you do in your free time. It doesn't have to be paid work. So I'd get you to have a think about whether there is anything else that you can draw on, and your degree, of course. You develop loads of transferable skills through your degree, so you should definitely be pulling on those when you make your applications, because a lot of the transferable skills you'll be able to demonstrate from whatever you've done in your life, hopefully. If you're really starting from, you've got your degree and there's nothing else on your CV, then having a 30-minute guidance appointment is probably a really good place to start, so we can go through all the different options. But just briefly today, you might want to, as well as applying for graduate jobs, look at what you can be doing in the meantime. So if you've got free time, can you get a part-time job to build some more real world work experience? Could you do a couple of days a week volunteering on a project so you can get some more experience on your CV? So that's very common, that people might be what we might call like a portfolio approach. So you might have a part-time job a couple of days a week, you might volunteer 1 day a week, you might be helping at home a couple of days a week, and actually that's what your 6 months after graduation or year after graduation might look like. You're trying things out, you're building more experience, so that when the graduate schemes open up again, you've got more experience to draw on. Don't know if anyone's got anything to add to that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, Elizabeth.
It's one thing which you could consider. I mean, obviously, getting experience is fantastic, and that's what employers really love, the experience and the achievements that you get from it, from work experience. But also, one of the things that you get out of work experience is an understanding of the context, of the type of work, being able to use the kind of language, understanding the challenges that there are in there. And one thing that we've got, which is really helpful, I think, on that aspect, is the Forage virtual experiences that you've got access to as one of our students and graduates. These are major employers who put together almost like kind of case studies, activities that you can sign up for free. It takes sort of 4 to 6 hours to do. But if you want to know about kind of what are the problems and the language which is used in something to do with digital technologies or to do with consultancy, then those are definitely worth having a look at. And that will help you be able to talk about the experience that you do have, but also understand the language which is going to be used within the sector that you're interested in.
Also, just one thing's popped in my mind as Elizabeth said that, and that's online courses as well. So I've just found the link on the careers website, so I'll put that in the chat, because there's loads of things that you can be doing for free. And if you've got lots of free time and you show the employer, well, I spent a bit of time learning about digital marketing on Google Garage, or I learned some more Excel skills on FutureLearn with my free time, it shows the employer that you're motivated to kind of learn more and build your skills. So that might be something else to have a look at.
Great, thank you. So lots of questions coming in, which is great. Some of them are a little bit long, so I'm going to try and paraphrase, but just let me know if I got the wrong end of the stick. So I'm finishing my master's in criminology, not sure what next steps I should take. I would be interested in a role within the criminal sector to gain experience in the area and look quite regularly on the CPS and Home Office website, but I'm unsure on what steps I should be taking right now to try and get a job within this sector. So well, there are a couple of things I can think of offhand, but I'll hand over to Kim, who looks after that area.
Yeah, that might be me as well. Yeah, I'd start on the Which Career page. So there's a section on crime and justice sector, which would be a good place to start. I'll just put that in the chat for you to look at broader opportunities. But again, what I was saying before about going back to the skills, so if you look on prospects.ac.uk, if you look at typical roles that you'd like to do in the future in the crime sector, then look at which ones you need to build. So it might be that you need to build experience working with vulnerable people, for example. So could you do some volunteering with a vulnerable community to show that you kind of building the skills that you need? So try and think be quite open-minded with what experience you look for, that would help you develop the skills that you're going to eventually need. I think the things you've identified there about the CPS are fantastic, but if you're just focusing on a couple of things, then vacancies might not come up, or opportunities might not come up as often as you'd like. So we have to think a bit more creatively about, is there some volunteering, is there some shadowing that I could do to kind of build the skills that are required for my future objective.
Absolutely, that's so true. And we also have loads of online, a list of free and low cost online courses, and lots about that area as well. So that could be really good to just to echo what Kim said about evidence that interest in the area. And I think on the crime and justice pages that Kim has posted on the chat, there's lots of information on where you can find volunteering opportunities. I know like the Citizens Advice Bureau and Victim Support are regularly looking for volunteers, remote and face-to-face, so it's worth having a look there. And even, to be honest, virtual work experience, depending on what area of crime and justice you're interested in, but there's loads of virtual work experiences on human rights law, cybersecurity, things like that. All that could be relevant. So we've got another question here. Again, it's quite long, so I'm just going to try and summarize it. I'm leaving Manchester in less than 2 months. I would like to get a job secured before then, I think. Given this short time frame, people have advised me to apply now to as many opportunities as I can, since the recruitment process can take a long time. However, I'm worried that if I get multiple offers and they come in at different times, can I wait to hear back from all the jobs I like before making a decision, or will I need to make a decision quickly? For example, what if I say yes in order not to lose the offer, and then I receive an offer from a company I like better? Does anyone want to take that one, Helen?
Right, okay, so there's quite a lot of parts to this question, so start at the beginning. So first of all, it sounds like you are delaying doing anything just in case something bad might happen. So the first bit of advice I would give you is don't delay. Just get stuck in, start now, because you do not know what's going to happen. Because the worst case scenario is either you wait and wait and wait and then you miss the boat completely, or maybe you could apply now and only one becomes an offer for you. So start now and do as much as you think you need to do, and worry about the other stuff later. That's probably the first part of the advice. The second part is about that really difficult period where you are maybe receiving an offer, you're waiting for a couple of others, you've still got an interview to go to. We quite often get asked this question, should I still go for this interview even though I've got an offer on the table? So again, it's really just you that can make this decision, but don't burn your bridges, I suppose, is the second bit of advice that I would give you. So just think about, if you are that organisation and you have accepted an offer with them, everyone is human and everyone will understand that if a dream job has been offered to you that only comes along once in a lifetime, they'll fully understand that you might need to take that and let them down, but just do it in a really nice way. So ideally do a phone call. If not, write a really nice letter that thanks them for everything, that really apologises, very, very polite, keeps the door open for anything in future, because you don't know what might happen next. You might go and do your dream job for a year, find out that it's not your dream job anymore, and actually want to start going back into the job market. And at that point, you don't want the recruiter to have remembered you because you've let them down. So just keep building those relationships all the time. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
That's great, thank you so much. And then we've got a question. I just finished my undergraduate degree and I want to do a PhD. Do I have to do a master's first, or can I apply directly for PhD courses? It's okay if I give this one.
Okay, I guess this is me. Yes, it's become far more common in recent years that you do a master's before applying for a PhD, but there are some cases where you can get straight onto a PhD. A lot of it depends on the subject that you're looking at, and it depends on how competitive you are as well in terms of getting funding. So, for instance, there are still occasions where you can get on, say, a 4-year PhD in some of the sciences, so things like Wellcome Trust PhDs and some of the Research Council funded PhDs that you can get in the UK. And although we're finding that some people, even getting onto a 4-year PhD, have a master's before going on to a 4-year PhD, they were originally set up to try to kind of front load it with the sort of stuff that you'd expect to get in a master's. So I would certainly look for the 4-year PhDs rather than the 3-year. If you're outside the sciences and you're in the humanities, particularly in the social sciences, there are 3+1 type programs, which basically is the equivalent of you kind of get 1 year to do a master's, but it's all kind of bundled up together with knowing that you're going to do a 3-year PhD afterwards. So that's another option. Obviously, those kind of opportunities are really competitive. People love to get those because they're funded PhDs. They're like kind of a low-end graduate salary that you get and your fees paid if you're a UK student, and it's, you know, it's a good deal. On the other hand, it's not unusual to have to do a master's, and certainly within humanities, it's pretty well required to do a master's. It's very, very unlikely to get onto a 3-year PhD without a master's. So think about whether you could do it maybe part-time. You know, it's not unusual for people to be doing a part-time master's, certainly in the humanities, in order to, you know, work to keep yourself solvent, and then hopefully go for a PhD after the second year of a 2-year master's. That also gives you some time to get your head together to think about what topic do I want to research in doing a PhD, because it's quite a hard thing to go into straight off without having any master's experience. So that's another one to think about. Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I think there actually might be another one as well before you unmute yourself. I have teaching experience in higher education and did some GTA work in my department. How would this help me get work in the same field in the UK? It's quite a general question, but
right. I may be misinterpreting, but I'm guessing if you've been a GTA that you must have been a PhD. Okay, let me know if that's not correct. But if you've got a PhD and you've got teaching experience, then you can apply for teaching roles. Yes, definitely PhD. I knew it had to be with the GTA. Definitely, you can apply for teaching roles within universities. You find that different universities often have more of an emphasis on teaching roles. So the tradition in academia is the part teaching, part research, traditional lectureship. However, there are some roles which are just research, and those kind of postdoctoral research positions, and there are some roles which are just teaching. So there's not as many just teaching roles, but there are some, and it's definitely worth looking out for those. You may find that there are certainly some, you know, we have people who are doing just teaching roles at Manchester after a PhD, but you'll also find, particularly with some of the what we call the post-92 universities in the UK, so people who used to be more kind of the polytechnics, who had a real strong emphasis on teaching students lots of vocational skills. They've got a real emphasis on having excellent teachers. And if that's what really floats your boat, then don't ignore non-Manchester university institutions as well.
great, thank you. Someone's just asked, how long do we have access to our uni emails after we graduate? Wish there was an easy answer for this. It varies. So what I would say is make sure that you have updated your contact details on Campus Solutions to include your personal email address. Continue to use Careers Connect with your student email address as long as it works. If one day you go to log into Career Connect and it doesn't work, don't worry, you can still access it. All you need to do is request a graduate account and we can turn that over as fast as we can. So don't worry about that. More information will be circulated about your university emails. Usually it's between 3 and 6 months, so you should have access for a while yet, but it depends when your course switches you from a student to a graduate, and that's different for every course. But even without your uni email address, don't worry, you can still continue to access Career Connect. There's another question here, would you recommend using recruitment agencies? I would say I don't know if my colleagues want to pitch in here, but I would say that they can be useful, especially industry specific ones, and ones which specialise in graduate opportunities. But I just would recommend you to do your research and remember that legally recruitment agencies can't charge you to help you find work in the UK. And always do remember that while they can be an excellent resource, their responsibility is always going to be to the organisation who is paying them a fee, a finder's fee, to find and select the right candidates. So use them as part of your graduate job search strategy, but I certainly wouldn't use them as the sole component and rely on them totally. I don't know if anyone else had anything to offer, or does that sort of summarise where we stand? Great, okay. I want to connect with employers from events this week. What should I put in a good LinkedIn connection request? Good one. Can I give that to Penny maybe?
Yeah, that's fine. In fact, I was just speaking to a student earlier about this, and we have actually got some really great resources on our YouTube channel. I don't know if anyone could just pop that in the chat for our audience today. So on there we've got a LinkedIn playlist, and within that we've actually got some slides with actual text written out advising on the sorts of things that you could put in a message to a new contact. But firstly is to be professional, be personable. So, give them a slight introduction to yourself, maybe discuss what it is that you're kind of wanting the connection for. And again, just like sort of face to face, don't go straight in with, can you tell me about your role or the company you work for? Maybe just some sort of icebreaker kind of question or comment, or even just a request to kind of just to connect. Really, what you really need early on is a connection. You won't get any further unless they accept that connection request. And just in addition to that as well, I think a lot of people have success when they have profile pictures on their LinkedIn account. So just check that your kind of LinkedIn profile is pretty polished before making those requests out to employers. But absolutely do, particularly if you've been at the recruitment fairs or ones that we're holding on Thursday, do follow up with a connection to the people that you meet, because you just don't know, what may come of those connections.
Great, thanks so much, Penny. Elizabeth has just posted something in the chat, which is really useful about your IT account. So you have access to your student IT account until 31st of August 2021. That's for our summer graduates. So make sure that you also, I would still recommend just going on Campus Solutions and updating your personal email as well. So what do you suggest for international graduates whose degree are mostly lab-based, e.g. genetics, but don't have work experience, and because of COVID, they didn't get a chance to have one? How can I boost my CV? Would anyone like to take that one, or Elizabeth? Oh, sorry, I think you're unmuted there, or muted even.
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, it's tricky, and I suppose the one positive thing is that everybody else is finding it tricky. So there's a lot of students who have struggled to get lab-based experience, even if they're on generally lab-based courses. One set of advice I got from academics was to be able to talk about things like a literature review and so on. That's particularly useful if you're trying to apply for postgraduate courses as well. So showing that you understand about the process of preparing for research and interpreting data. So often you've been given access to data sets, and interpreting data and being able to pull out information and make decisions based on that can be a useful thing in itself. And it's the kind of thing which will help you offset the fact that through no fault of your own that you often haven't had a chance to actually get into those pieces of physical kit. But actually, it's the quality of your decision making, your analysis, and what you do with the information which is generated in the lab, which is what's really important to employers. So don't discount the stuff that you've done, which you maybe been handed a load of data rather than going and finding the data yourself. It's about how can you demonstrate that you've got real insight and understanding about what you're seeing out of what would have been lab work.
Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. This one here, I recently graduated from business school. I currently have a postgraduate offer. However, I'm not sure whether classes would resume in September. I wouldn't want to finish my postgrad online after completing my undergrad remotely. Could you please suggest some options I could explore to enhance my skills or gain experience over the summer so that I could have a backup in case classes still remain online and I have to start a year later? So there's quite a lot there. I think what you're asking, correct me if I'm wrong, is hard to just gain those skills and experience either over the summer before you start your postgraduate or over the following year. I don't mind starting us off with this one. I think I would definitely recommend watching the recording of how to boost your CV, the session yesterday when it goes on the Career Service YouTube channel next week. But there are so many things you can use to resources that you can do to enhance your employability over the summer or throughout the year. So I would think about the sorts of roles that you're interested in applying for, using prospects to look at job profiles and identifying the skills that you need for those roles. I would use your time to find out more about those types of roles and the sectors you're interested in by networking with alumni, having a look on LinkedIn, going to relevant panels. And then when you have an idea of the skills that you need, I would do sort of like an audit and divide the skills into the ones that you already have and the ones you can evidence clearly and talk about in applications and interviews, and then the ones that you need to gain. And then that step-by-step process will enable you to see, okay, so I need these skills, how do I get them? And then you can go on to find out how you can gain and acquire those skills. So that could be through virtual work experience programs. You can do as many of them as you want. That could be through volunteering, part-time work. The university, if you're a student at the university, a full-time student at the university, suggests no more than 15 hours per week of part-time work during the semester. So just be careful of that. If you do have your year between finishing your undergraduate and doing your postgraduate, have a look at graduate internships. And we have Manchester Graduate Talent that offers paid graduate level work to 2020 and 2021 graduates in Greater Manchester, and that's across a variety of sectors. And also you can look at doing online courses, work shadowing if things are starting to open up, and different forms of work experience and volunteering that you can find on Career Connect. I think self-awareness is key there, figuring out sort of what you have now, what you need to get to where you want to go, and then sort of deconstructing the steps that you need to get there. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to that, or is that Helen?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that something is better than nothing. So Jenny's made some brilliant suggestions there. You might find it's quite competitive to get onto some sort of internship now. If you do, that's fabulous. But if not, don't worry. So if you're thinking of going into some sort of business type career, the one thing that is guaranteed that you'll need is some sort of customer awareness, customer service. So even if for the summer period you get a part-time or a full-time job in either retail or hospitality, which there are loads of jobs in at the moment, or even an office type job where you're interacting with other people, all of those sort of lower level jobs will give you skills that you can talk about. So they're transferable. You'll have team working skills, you'll have an awareness of, working out customer expectations, customer needs, delivering a great service, organising yourself, working on maybe mini projects, that sort of thing. So whatever you do, it will build your skill set. So just do something rather than nothing would be my advice.
Thank you so much, Helen. So we've got one here. I'm a 2020 engineering graduate. All my course mates seem to have had jobs already. I'm feeling fed up. What should I do? I don't know if Penny or Helen, you wanted to take that.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'm really sorry to hear that you're feeling like that at the moment. And I think a lot of students are really struggling this year to kind of get the position that ideally they're looking for. And actually, I think a lot of the time people are compromising. So whilst you might feel a lot of your peers have got positions and possibly their dream jobs, actually they've probably compromised a lot on that this year because the market is so difficult. So what I would suggest probably is maybe if you arrange a time to maybe meet with me, we could do a one-to-one Zoom meeting, and we could just talk through about what you've done so far, see if there's any sort of sticking points, because you may have applied for things and only got so far. So it would definitely be worth having a chat with you if that's okay. And my details are there on the screen, so I'm happy for you kindly email me or just book an appointment via Career Connect, and we could just talk through where you're up to at the moment, and happy to offer you some support with your next step in your planning.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do remember that you can continue to access us for 2 years. So we're definitely here no matter what sort of careers concerns you might have. I'm a humanities graduate and I know how to talk about soft skills, but don't know how to gain more technical skills. Which ones should I prioritize and how can I gain them? Kim.
I mean, it really depends what you're interested in going into. So it depends what that goal is, because your soft skills might be everything that you need, you know. You find lots of jobs with the kind of skills that you've developed from your degree program, but if you do want to go into something more technical, we've put the link in the chat to like the online courses. That's a really good place to start to build some more skills. There was a great session earlier this week on tech careers for those of you from humanities backgrounds that maybe haven't got any skills developed in tech through your degree, but that is definitely a kind of a sector that's open to you. So you might want to watch that one back when it goes on YouTube. So the answer really depends on what kind of field you're looking at, but the free online courses are a good way to start. Volunteering is a really kind of low risk option as well. So if you think, okay, I want to develop some skills in digital marketing, but my degree is history, you know, how do I get to that step? Then offering your time to help, you know, a charity with a small project that they're doing and writing a blog for them and helping with their Instagram account, you know, these are kind of the smaller ways that you can build those skills. So online courses you can do independently, volunteering, or even helping, you know, with a contact that you have, a neighbour, a family friend, or talking to alumni about how they develop those skills can help you kind of get some more ideas. But the same as kind of Penny said there, an appointment might be a really good way to book in and get have a 30-minute conversation to really get to the bottom of what you're looking for, and we can help you find the right types of opportunities for you. And I think Helen wants to jump in.
Yeah, actually, it's not about the current question, it's just the one before. I just had, you know, I heard from the question that this person was quite worried about the situation they were in, and it was fabulous that Penny has offered to support from a careers perspective. I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to some great workshops that the counselling service are running. So I'll put the link in the chat, but I've just had a quick look now, and it's things like developing resilience in challenging times, how to calm your brain, managing anxiety, that sort of stuff. So they are group workshops. I think you can do it on a confidential basis, but I'll put the link in the chat just if anyone is feeling as though it's a bit too much for them to deal with at the moment.
That's a really good point, actually. And on the Counselling Service website, there's lots of links to external resources as well, like NHS or otherwise, different charities like Mind. So it's definitely worth having a look at that. They've got loads of podcasts, playlists, workbooks, lots of different stuff. So definitely have a look at those as well. We've got absolutely loads of questions. I'm so sorry if we don't get a chance to go through them because we only have 6 minutes left. I'll try and get through maybe another one. I'm near the end of my PhD. I have a hectic schedule as I need to write up my thesis, work on several academic papers, and prepare for my viva. I'm not sure if I can allocate enough time to job application. Should I delay job hunting to after I finish my PhD?
Quick answer. A lot of people come and have appointments with me, and the first thing they say is, well, I've just handed in my thesis. I think I better start thinking about my career now. It's not ideal, but it's done, and I won't judge you if that's what you have to do. Okay, the most important thing is get your PhD sorted. We'll talk about the rest later.
Great, thank you so much. And one last question. I'm worried about how competitive it is to get a graduate job at the minute. Do you have any tips?
Just a really quick one from me is please access everything that we have available to support you. It's very common that I might speak to a graduate maybe 6 months, a year after they graduated, and nobody's ever checked their CV, nobody's ever given them feedback on their application form, their covering letter. And sometimes you look at those documents and you think, oh, I wish you'd come 6 months ago, because we really could have made an impact at the start when you began your search. And the same for interviewing. I've never seen a perfect interview practice. There is always something you can do to improve, and it's the most in-depth feedback that you'll get. We often hear that it's difficult to get in-depth feedback from employers after an interview. You might have been rejected and then you don't get very good feedback, so you don't know what to do with it. So come and have a practice, because it will really help build your confidence, and you'll get really in-depth feedback to help you know how to perform better in the recruitment process.
Helen?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. First of all, you're not the only one. We hear this so often. It is a competitive job market, particularly for graduates. But just think, you know, when you're at that assessment centre, most people will be feeling the same as you. And although skills and experience are really important, sometimes there's a little bit of luck in there as well. You know, are you the one that gels with the assessor on the day? You know, are you the one that stands out because you do something that's lovely that other people haven't done? So don't give up. You know, you might get 10 knockbacks, but that 11th job that you go for might be the right one. I'm a huge believer in fate. You know, just keep going and try and be as resilient as you can.
Yeah, and Penny, thank you, Helen. Thanks, Kim.
Brilliant. Yeah, just to add to both of those great pieces of advice, I'd say try and connect with people in the companies that you're sort of targeting. See if there's any alumni that you can connect with, and get insider information from them. If they're recent graduates particularly, they will have been through the recruitment process very recently. So connect with them, trying to get some information from them to help you prepare for when you apply and go through the process.
Great, thank you. And one last question, this is definitely the last one, and I can maybe just take that myself. I'm going to finish my degree with a 2-2 instead of a 2-1. Does this mean I should forget about graduate schemes? I'll just quickly answer this one, and people can call in if they want to. So there's lots of large graduate schemes that do require 2-1 or above, but not all of them do, and many of them do look for 2-2s or above. So in that sense, it's just really important to do your research and remember that your degree, it isn't the only thing that employers are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for somebody with lots of transferable skills, somebody who's motivated, has a real can-do attitude, and someone with a genuine interest in their industry. So definitely don't forget about graduate schemes, even if you have your 2-2. We've got lots of advice and tips on the Career Service blog about job hunting with the 2-2, and also even approaching job hunting if you have a 3rd class degree as well. So I'm going to start sharing my screen again, because we're coming to the end of the session. Thank you so much for all your brilliant questions. I'm so sorry if we didn't get through them all. I know there were some quite specific ones that you may need to book a guidance appointment for. Others you can contact us via live chat or via the queries tab on Career Connect. Just before you go, just to remind you that you can stay connected with us. So you can access our social media channels, where we post a lot about specific events and programs and initiatives to help. The graduate outcomes survey, so depending on when you finished your course, 15 months after you finish your course, you'll be contacted by the Higher Education Statistics Agency, which is called HESA, and they'll ask you about your experiences since graduating. So they'll send you the graduate outcomes survey via email, or they might text or phone you as well. And it's the largest annual social survey in the UK. There are loads of benefits of completing the survey, and you can find out more about them on our website. But just be aware, 15 months after you graduate, you will probably receive the graduate outcomes survey. Okay, so as I've already said, this event is part of a large programme of career support. We've got the Future Fair tomorrow, where you'll be able to hear from lots of different organisations. And on Friday, we have 3 sessions. We have two alumni panels, one about Manchester graduate talent, about working in Manchester, one about working for small or medium-sized enterprise. So, you know, you don't have to go for a large corporate organisation to start a successful career. And then we also have an employer panel event with Manchester-based employers as well. So make sure you're registered if you're not already. And there's more information about the fair. All you have to do is search Future Week Fair on Career Connect, and you'll have access to all these employers and more. So hopefully we've got through most of the questions that you wanted. I know there is a couple, there have been a couple we haven't been able to get in touch with, so we haven't been able to answer, sorry. So use the live web chat to ask us any quick questions. It's staffed 10 AM to 4 PM UK time, Monday to Friday, not including bank holidays or weekends. And you can also contact us via the queries tab in Career Connect as well. So feel free to get in touch with us if you require any more support. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you to my panelists and my fellow panelists for answering all your questions, and thank you to you for all your great questions. Oh, great. I'm so glad it's been helpful. That's fab. And you're very welcome. Thank you, everyone.